The WCA World Cube Association has been at the forefront of organizing competitive speedkeeping events for almost 2 decades. These events have brought together a diverse community of enthusiasts who engage in solving various twisty puzzles. However, the inclusion of the clock event has been a subject of debate within the cubing community. In this video, we will argue that the WCA should consider removing clock event from its list of official events due to several compelling reasons. The first reason I want to talk about is the most important reason, which is that the clock doesn't align with WCA's role and purpose. In the About page of the WCA website, it states the World Cube Association governs competitions for mechanical puzzles that are operated by twisting groups of pieces, commonly known as twisty puzzles. The most famous of these puzzles is the Rubik's Cube, invented by Professor Rubik from Hungary. A selection of these puzzles are chosen as official events of the WCA. And here's the thing. Clock is not a twisty puzzle, so it doesn't belong in the WCA. If the WCA truly wants to stand by that statement they have in the About page, they need to remove WCA clock. Now let's move on to another big reason, which is spectatorship. Spectatorship for clock is an issue as you really can't see what's going on from a spectator's perspective. Yes, I know things are changing with top-down camera for live streams, which will slightly help. But again, here's the thing right now. Cubers aren't interested in seeing top solvers do clock even with this top-down cameras. And now, yet alone non-cubers. And you might be wondering, okay, why is spectatorship so important? Well, spectatorship helps facilitate growth, and in fact, I'm going to actually make a whole separate video talking about why spectatorship is so important. The final reason I want to talk about is time and resources. Clock is a very niche event and it's not popular enough to waste precious competition time for the event. Extra time could be used for more popular events. In addition, it takes extra work to organize clock competitions as you need special covers and judges who know what they're doing, as clock works very different than the other WCA events. And for many competitions, judging is already a problem with not only just a lack of judges, but more importantly, a lack of good judges who know what they are doing. So with that said, why hasn't clock been removed yet? Well, that's because removing events from the WCA can be very controversial, as some people have arguments for supporting keeping events like clock. So let's go through the main arguments. The major argument for keeping clock is that it's unfair to those people who practice clock to just get it removed and they waste their effort. But here's the thing, it's a stop-loss thing. Let's pretend the WCA had an event entirely not keeping related. Let's say something like Time Sudoku, and it's been an official WCA event for years. Wouldn't you immediately agree the event should be straight up removed from the WCA as it's so different? Well, the same could be said about clock. Clock is nothing like a twisty puzzle and should be straight up removed. In addition, there will still be online sites like extraevents.org to keep track of clock results, and people can still practice for fun. The next major reason people talk about is how they think that no events should ever be removed, but only events should be added because removing events is bad. But here's the thing. Adding more events without removing events means more trouble for competition organizers. Now you might be thinking, competitions outside of championships don't have to hold every WCA event, so that shouldn't be a problem. But here's the truth. When it comes to local competitions, good competition organizers take the time to make sure that they fairly host events. So that's why certain regions will have what's called an event coverage spreadsheet to make sure they hold all events in reasonable amounts, primarily focusing on events that are more popular, such as 3x3, 4x4, and 2x2, making sure they're being hosted more compared to less popular events such as clock. And with that, if you were to add new events, they're going to need time to host those events, and it's going to be taking away time most likely from less popular events such as clock. So with that said, having a limit to the events count is useful for organization of cube competitions, as it will help improve them. So with that said, the WCA should truly consider removing clock as a WCA event. I think it's a step the WCA needs to be willing to take to make change for the better.